So we got the cab pretty much gutted. Got the floor out and got the sound deadener mat peeled up. You know, I was about ready to go out and get some dry ice and try the Greg A trick. You know, freeze it and it'll come right up. Greg A just needs to buy some older trucks because this stuff just like fell right off. So got the new floor pans, so I'm going to be working on that today and getting sections of the old floor cut out. The passenger side isn't as bad as the driver's side, but still there's a tiny pinhole right there, so I'm not sure exactly how much I'm going to cut out. So, but I'm not planning on welding these in yet. So I want to get the floor cut out and get rid of all the bad sheet metal, and then drop the cab onto the truck, because I think I'm going to have to do some clearancing right here, because right next, about 5 inches over from this body mount, is where the engine mount sits. So I might have to do some clearancing here. So I don't want to, it wouldn't really affect anything on this side, because I'm probably only going to come to somewhere in here, maybe. I don't know yet. Like I said, the driver's side is way worse. The hole goes up higher and stuff. But so I'm just removing the junky crap so I can drop the cab down onto the frame and see how everything sits, and then make my clearances here, and we'll go from there. Hopefully I don't have to go too crazy clearancing things, but I might. I'm more worried about the driver's side, because that's where your throttle pedal mounts, right there. So your foot's kind of right there, so I don't want to lose leg room. We want to be able to go full throttle, you know. So I'm gonna get started on this. Would have been cool if I'd gotten one of them spot weld drill bits. So I got a few of them in there, and they go all the way up that. Cool. Awesome. I didn't order cab supports because the floor pans were like $27 a piece or something like that. If you wanted to get cab supports, they were like $90 a piece. And I watched a video of some guy replacing them, and mine weren't nearly as bad as his were. So I think that I'm just going to use some of that sheet metal I got in the garage and just kind of patch over this spot here. Anywhere where it's thin, put a little more meat there. Call that good enough, because that would suck to have to do those. I mean, it'd be way easier right now where the cab is at, but still, I'm more concerned about the $90 thing a piece. We got a budget here, you know. Can't go over budget, otherwise the treasurer gets all upset. So we're making some progress on the cab, slowly but surely. We have the one cab support pretty much redone. Had to cut out a lot here, be able to see it better from the inside, but we got a new piece over here that's welded to everything over there, and then this piece, and then a piece on the bottom. Still had to drill a hole in that one. We got the whole floor cut out. I'm not sure where my battery died. It's been like 2 weeks since I filmed anything, but so you can see I cut out most of this cab support piece because it was pretty well rusted, and then the whole bottom of this pillar here was pretty much gone. So I ended up cutting out a lot of crap and then plated it there and built this part here. So hey, let me film what I'm talking about. So I got to get the floor pan cut right. I was going to leave the floor pan out and see how the cab fit. That way if I needed to cut the floor at all, I'd, you know, it'd be open and I'd kind of see it. But I'm thinking it's just going to be easier to get the floors in and weld it in and then drop the cab on it and then just mark where I need to cut instead of like guessing, you know. So I think I'm just going to get the floors in and welded in. And I'm not doing carpet or anything. I'm just going to bedline the floor. So I don't want to have a hole here or a plug covering up the top side of that body mount. So I think I'm going to get cut a piece of plate that'll fit just down in there and leave it so I can slide it back and forth because that hole's oblonged, and weld the nut to it so that way that plate will sit down there and it'll kind of hold in place so you can tighten and loosen the bolt on the bottom side without having to have a wrench on the top side. So that should make that a lot nicer. So yeah, now I just got to work on the other side too. That one's pretty that side's actually not as bad, but it's still pretty rusted. So I'm gonna work on getting this panel to fit in here. Gonna do some trimming because I added that piece of metal there, and see if we can get it to fit a little bit better. Maybe clean up some of these edges where I cut. So get to work on that.
Doubted all that I could do, knowing what I need to do. All I can say, the word is thank you. I think it's what you need to push away from the shore, amongst the waves. Exactly where I wanna be. I am where I wanna be. Remember the start, remember the start. When my future needed clarity. Yes, I needed clarity, so I could see how you'd react, how you'd react to me. So much differently, 'cause I am different to you.
So we finished up the floors. Yeah, this was a pain. Every video I watched online was like, they were telling you to cut everything perfect so the floor pan would like butt right up to the rest of your floor. And that was a pain. I did that on this back edge and it was just like burn through. It was awful to weld, and these floor pans did not fit perfectly, like at all. And I gave up on that. So this was the only edge that I actually like butted up and made perfect with each other. The rest of these I left the base metal a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch long, and then just slapped the floor pan over it and threw some weld on it. I was going to try and make things look like perfect, like there was no floor pan here, and then I said, you know, screw that too. So I might clean up these welds a little bit, but we're just going to be bedlining the floor anyways. So, you know, some of these welds don't look half bad. This is kind of don't look. So yeah, the floors are in. We also got the cab supports done. So that should make this a lot stronger than it was. I actually found up in here, I tried to weld it, but I'm awful at welding. There was a crack in the cab. So one thing I did do, kind of by mistake, but it works out. If you notice, there's a gap here. That wasn't there. The floor pan is supposed to sit down right on there, and it was actually spot welded before. So it was kind of a mistake, but it'll all work out because hopefully that'll give me a little extra clearance here to clear the engine mounts. So it's like that on both sides. I'll just fill that in with something, seam sealer, aka caulk.